What's the most annoyed you've gotten at a military spouse event? The colonel's wife, Patricia, decided our base needed a military family enrichment seminar. Mandatory attendance for all spouses, 3 hours on a Saturday morning. I just gotten back from a 15-month deployment. My husband was preparing for his next rotation. Our 2 kids barely knew me. Last thing I needed was listening to someone lecture about military life who'd never lived it. Patricia stood at the podium in a designer outfit that cost more than my husband's monthly pay. Started with, "Ladies, we need to discuss proper etiquette for military social functions." First red flag. Half the room was male spouses. Military families aren't 1950s stereotypes anymore. She continued, "As military wives, we represent our husbands' careers. Our behavior directly impacts their promotions." I bit my tongue. I'm a sergeant myself, been in longer than my husband. But Patricia assumed every spouse was a dependent housewife. Then came the dress code presentation. Appropriate attire for unit functions includes modest skirts, conservative blouses, and closed-toe shoes. No pants, no sleeveless tops, no casual wear. Sarah, sitting beside me, raised her hand. "What if we're coming straight from work? Some of us have jobs." Patricia's smile turned icy. "Perhaps those with outside employment should reconsider their priorities?" The room went silent. Half these women worked full-time to supplement military salaries. Teachers, nurses, retail workers. Patricia's husband made 6 figures. She'd never worried about groceries or rent, but she wasn't done. Another concern is social media presence. Posting complaints about deployments or military life reflects poorly on the chain of command. Lisa, whose husband was on his 4th deployment in 6 years, snorted. "So we can't even vent about missing our husbands?" "Exactly. We must maintain positive attitudes at all times." That's when I lost it. Stood up, looked her dead in the eye. "Ma'am, with all due respect, have you ever spent Christmas alone with sick kids while your spouse is in a combat zone?" Patricia blinked. "Well, no, but have you ever gotten a casualty notification call at 2 a.m. and spent 3 hours wondering if your husband was coming home?" "That's not the point. Have you ever moved 8 times in 10 years, started over in new cities where you know nobody, rebuilt your life from scratch every 18 months? The room was electric. Other spouses started nodding, some crying. "Have you ever worked double shifts to pay bills because military pay doesn't cover everything? Then come home to manage a household solo because your partner's training 12 hours a day?" Patricia was speechless, her face bright red. "Because every woman in this room has. We don't need etiquette lessons. We need childcare during events. We need mental health resources. We need career support that doesn't assume we're decorative accessories." I sat down. The room erupted in applause. Patricia stammered through the rest of her presentation to an increasingly hostile audience. Women started sharing real stories. Deployments, moves, financial struggles, career sacrifices. By the end, Patricia looked like she wanted to disappear. Her perfect seminar had become a therapy session about actual military life. Command got feedback. Lots of it. The colonel quietly transferred his wife's volunteer duties to someone else. Next spouse event was run by Maria, an Army wife with 4 deployments under her belt. Covered practical topics, job search strategies, financial planning, deployment survival. Patricia never spoke at another spouse function. Word was she complained to her husband about ungrateful military wives. He reportedly told her to focus on her own life. But the best part? That confrontation started something. Spouses began organizing their own support groups. Real discussions about real problems. No more fake smiles and superficial advice. We created a network that actually helped families. Job referrals, babysitting exchanges, emergency assistance. The kind of support Patricia's etiquette seminars never provided. Military spouses deal with enough without pretending everything's perfect for someone who's never walked in our boots.